Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Futbol on Full Heel Remote. I am Frankie, host of this podcast. I am currently joined by my boy Andres.
Yo.
The producer / owner of the Full Heel Network, Rafa behind the keys.
What's going on?
And Johnny, the boy, Johnny the boy will be joining us shortly. But thanks again to everybody joining us live. Sorry for the delay. I'm excited, y'all. There's a lot to get through after months of inactivity, of just crazy and sad things happening. Football is back. Granted, it's in empty stadiums. It's kind of weird at first, but Bundesliga wrapped up pretty much. La Liga's back. Coppa Italia is about to finish tomorrow. Premier League starts tomorrow. Serie A starts this weekend. So a lot of stuff to kind of highlight and get through. But before we proceed, just a quick reminder to give us a like, jump in the comment section and let us know what you think, or let us know if you have any questions. And of course, check out the other stuff on Full Heel Network, the other combat sport related stuff. I'm saying stuff a lot, but we've got Fight Companions. We just had one last week for the Cynthia Calvillo versus Jessica I fight night. And there's more fights this weekend and stuff. So look out for that. But yeah, lots to talk about. So we'll get right into the mix before Johnny jumps in with his always insightful opinions. But right around the time that we went and recorded last week, MLS announced or officially made known their plans for the MLS is Back tournament. That's what it's called, MLS is Back tournament. And despite its weak name and weird format, I'm pretty excited about that because MLS, for those of you who aren't aware or weren't paying attention when it started earlier, only played 2 matches before they had to call a stoppage. So what they decided is that all 26 clubs are going to head down to Orlando, and they're going to play a World Cup type tournament to decide a winner for the tournament who gets the automatic bid to the CONCACAF Champions League tournament. And they also get some cash bonus prizes and things like that. But all 26 teams are going to be pretty much secluded at Disney World, at the ESPN Sports Complex at Disney World in Orlando. So they're going to be in, I guess, a bubble, you can say, like the NBA is trying to do. It's going to be down in Florida. So the way that it works is kind of weird. Each conference was divided into 3 groups of 4, except for the Eastern Conference, which the third group in the Eastern Conference, so it's 2 groups of 4 teams, and then the third one has 6 teams. Because there's 26 teams total in MLS, so there was no like neat solution. So one group is funky and kind of unfair because the team in one group has a slimmer chance of proceeding to the next rounds. Now those group stage matches, every MLS team is guaranteed 3 matches, and those matches will count for regular season points. After this tournament is done in July, MLS is planning to resume games in home markets and finish the regular season and playoffs too. So the 3 matches that each team will be guaranteed to play will count for the regular season. The knockouts and all of that won't matter, but it is, again, competitive soccer and something for us to watch and something to get the players primed for the remainder of the season. So again, a little funky there. I'm not sure if I'm 100% with that format. The Fire, of course, our local team, my favorite team, is in the Eastern Conference group that has 5 other teams. So the math and everything in that one is going to get kind of funky. They have to play Inter Miami, I think New York City FC, and one other team. The other team that the Fire has to play escapes me.
Nashville?
Oh, yeah, Nashville. And Nashville's the expansion team. Thank you. So they could have tougher matches on paper, but it's still a tricky group to navigate. But again, exciting that they're getting the teams playing. It's a cool new format. And they still have some consideration for, I guess, a regular season and are willing to hopefully, COVID permitting, play games into, I think it's usually November that they play into. So MLS is ready to roll, and that's going to be on July 8th. So July 8th is when that tournament will be starting. So finally a chance for us to get to see Chicharito in full effect. Hopefully Pulido scored in both of his matches so far. See what else is happening in MLS. Likewise, in North America, Liga MX announced that they will be starting their next tournament on July 24th. So in about a month, Mexican soccer will be back as well. Training started yesterday for some of the big clubs. So that's interesting just because COVID is in Mexico right now is pretty bad. And we see cases on the rise. So look out for it on the 24th because there's going to be some new changes to Mexican soccer. Chiefly that Monarcas Morelia will no longer be playing in Morelia. They're moved to Mazatlan, and they are now Mazatlan FC. They will be coached by Paco Palencia, one of my childhood heroes, one of the last players to win a championship with Cruz Azul. And he's going to be their coach. They changed their colors. They changed their crest. They're going to brand spanking new stadium in a brand new city. And again, I talked about it briefly last week, but it pains me to see that Morelia is no longer. And also with that, Querétaro, one of the teams, I guess I wanted to call them middling teams because they've never really won a championship or really looked like they threatened to win one, but they are under new ownership.
They the final with Ronaldinho, bro.
Yeah, they brought Ronaldinho to Mexico.
They made the final. Point. They lost to Santos.
There you go, Johnny with the facts, as always, insightful. Oof. But yeah, Querétaro's got new owners, and they might look to move that team to a more appealing market, I guess. I don't really know what other appealing market there would be, or if they would go to another big city. But if you're a fan of Querétaro, or if you have any sort of sentimental attachment to them, be prepared and brace for the worst because crazy stuff happens in the Mexican League all the time. We have another league in Mexico that's being created. I think it's called Liga de Balompié because second division teams won't be able to be promoted for the next 5 years in Mexico. So a lot of pros in the lower ranks don't even think it's worth playing if they can't get promoted, right? So there's a new teams and a new league being formed in Mexico. So that'll be an interesting dynamic to see how that works. Or if it lasts, right? It could be like a whole other. What I was kind of likening to, Johnny, is like a XFL, right? XFL offshoot. Yeah. They try to do it twice, but that's really shady and just kind of shitty that they would do that to the second division. There's some historic teams.
Yeah, it stunts a lot of the development for the Mexican League in terms of bringing up for young talent. You know, the youngsters already don't get a chance as it is in the first division with the teams they have, and it's not a good move when there's no competition for teams trying to get up, you know? Like, look at that's a sign of a strong league when they have that. So it was a weird decision they made that, right? But it's all politics and money in Mexico, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely weird because, and you said it perfectly, look at MLS. Again, I love MLS, and I will be the first to admit that it's not, top tier yet. But I would argue that one of the reasons it's not is because there's a lot of owners and teams that don't feel a need to invest or to be competitive because there's no threat of relegation, right? So I totally see how that can unfortunately creep into Mexican soccer, right? And we've got, again, big clubs like Celaya, right, is down in the lower ranks. Dorados was the other team from Sinaloa. Atlante is down there, right? Atlante won a championship in the last 10 years. So,
well, what were the other times when this happened? I remember because by my town, I remember it was La Piedad had a team, Los Reboceros,
right?
And then I remember they won the second division, but then like some funky stuff happens all the time in the Mexican League, and then the owners are like, we're selling our rights or or whatever. And then that was one occasion, and there was another one, no? Because didn't they got rid of Irapuato or something? And then
it was like the original Jaguares from Chiapas, right? And then the original San Luis, all their rights got sold and they got moved.
That
funky stuff. And then Atletico San Luis was born from that, and then there was like an Atletico Chiapas too, but they didn't last. Or it was Jaguares de Chiapas or Chiapas Jaguares. They changed the name somehow, but
because is Toros Neza still a team then?
They had come back as like some other team, right? And then I think they floundered again. Like teams go up and down and reborn and all kinds of crazy stuff in Mexico all the time.
Well, a good example of like a team going down and then coming up is León, you know?
Yeah.
León was in the second division and then they won the title, and then they had that with Matias, or what's his name, the coach, and
Matosas.
Then with Matosas, sorry. So it's a shame that we won't get to see that anymore, because now it's just like you said, 5 years.
Yeah, for the next 5.
Damn.
Yeah, and León's a good example. They were down in the lower ranks for like 10 years, came back, and then won 2 championships.
I'd like to take this opportunity to tell all the Morelia people that if they want to come root for Chivas, how I know they already do, that they're more than welcome to. And join our cartel. I mean, join our team, and just good times are coming, guys.
There you go. They say, hey, there's rumors of a Morelia team either being started in Liga MX or for the new league. So they might have something, but if I was 100% like tried and true Morelia, I would jump for Atlas or León before I jump for Chivas. That's just me.
Wow.
That's just me. But yeah, moving on. Other leagues and competitions that have announced their return. That looks like Champions League will be back in August, and they're gonna make it an 8-team knockout tournament that is going to be held in Lisbon, the capital of Portugal. Apparently, Portugal is handling COVID really well, and the rates of infection are low. So they're going to hold a 2-group knockout tournament. Now, the interesting part there is that this is planned for 8 teams, but technically there's still 12 teams in the competition because 4 ties are yet to finish. So that's one of the things they have to figure out is when they finish the Barcelona versus Napoli, Juventus versus Lyon, and Madrid versus Man City.
Napoli, Barca.
Yeah, and I'm missing one.
Napoli, Barca, you didn't say.
Napoli, I did say Napoli. I said Napoli, Barca. Crap.
Tottenham?
Oh,
or Chelsea, Bayern?
Chelsea, Bayern, you're right. But that one is pretty much written. But hey, crazier things have happened. But yeah, once they figure that out, we'll see the Champions League in August. They're planning to have the final in Lisbon on the 23rd of August.
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday. Now, what that also means is, historically, I guess, most other leagues are starting or a week or 2 in around that time. So I don't know if that's going to run into the planned restart. I know the French league is planning to restart on the 21st, I believe. So if PSG makes it to the final, that might conflict with the start of their new season. Now, I guess the perfect way to segue Champions League into more relevant matters is we won't be talking a whole lot about the Bundesliga today because it was decided earlier. With 2 matches remaining, Bayern is 7 points up after defeating Werder Bremen today 1-0. Fittingly, Lewandowski scored the goal.
I thought you were wearing that Bayern jersey.
Nah, this is Arsenal, bro. I thought you were
wearing that Bayern jersey, bro.
Fresh
I thought
Arsenal.
it was that Bayern. Yeah, that is super clean. I thought it was the Bayern one. I thought you put it on because they won today.
No, Arsenal, because they're going to beat Man City tomorrow. That's why.
Wow, shots fired.
Setting the stage for Liverpool to beat Everton on Sunday and decide the Premier League immediately. No, it's a long shot too. I realize it. But again, quick side note, shout out to Adidas. Their vintage designs recently on most of their jerseys right now are top notch. And that new Ajax jersey that came out, the away one, fresh.
I haven't seen it.
Fresh. just clean. Their retro vibes are 100 right now. Like the away Arsenal one right now too, and a handful of other teams that have some really fresh stuff. Shout outs to them. Keep up the good work. One of those teams looking fresh in Adidas is Bayern. They're now 8-time defending champion of the Bundesliga. Kind of anticlimactic. We were really excited because it would look like there was 4 teams that could potentially be within the possibility of winning. And rather quickly, people started stumbling. And Bayern, to their credit, has not lost since the restart. On Saturday, they were without Lewandowski and Müller, probably their 2 most important players this season, due to suspension. And they left out a couple other guys. And they started with some forward named Zirkzee and some kid named Michael Cuisance. And they still looked pretty comfortable against Gladbach. Granted, Thuram got hurt, and the own goal, it was an own goal. Pavard scored an own goal. But Bayern, since the restart, never really looked threatened, unfortunately. So that's why we won't really be talking about the Bundesliga too much. There are matches tomorrow if you're interested in watching. We'll talk about that in what to watch for at the end. But I guess this sets the stage for a question we've been asking the last couple weeks. Bayern didn't have any issues in the return to the Bundesliga. Are they definitely, like Andres said, the favorites for Champions League? Now, Johnny brought up an interesting point that they have had more time to get into sync a couple weeks ago and have some games under their belt, but now they also have an extended break. You got if the Champions League isn't until August, they have over a month technically since the end of the Bundesliga. So is that going to be a problem, the inactivity for over a month? And if it isn't, are they still the favorites to win the Champions League? We'll start with Andres. What do you think?
I mean, I pretty much was rooting for Bayern Munich the whole season because of what they're able to do since Hansi Flick came on. You know, they're scoring goals. They're getting goals from everyone, and they're tough to stop. I mean, yeah, matchups matter in Champions League, but as far as the restart and stopping and starting again, I don't think that's really gonna, affect them too much. It's like if you have a good team, it doesn't go away within, a week or 2 of not playing. Liverpool is still Liverpool. Barca is still Barca, Bayern is still Bayern. And this season, they click. They have good chemistry. They got a lot of players that are in form. And I think they're just going to keep scoring against every team in the Bundesliga. I'm pretty sure Lewandowski wants to hit, Golden Boot. Other records that he could probably set for Bayern. So I still think they're favorites, depending on the matchups, but they look strong.
Absolutely. I have to agree. Like I said, this weekend they played kids and they still didn't skip a beat. So sky's the limit there, I guess. I am a little, maybe they get, I don't know, complacent, or maybe just a month off is just a little bit too much. But at the same time, like you said, these are top tier players on a top tier team. And as we saw for them, the couple months they had off didn't affect them in the league. So it'll probably continue in the Champions League. What do you think, Johnny?
I think I think right now, just off of form and having a month under their belt, they're coming in with a slight advantage, I would say. And now they get to rest while the other teams might have to play into the Champions League. But at that point, maybe some of those teams get more form because Bayern hasn't been playing. But I think all the big names are still left in the Champions. So I think Bayern has a slight edge, but I don't necessarily think they're better than any of the other teams I've still been saying. PSG, Juventus if they can pass, Barca if they can pass. At that point, it's going to be a toss-up with all these teams. So I don't know. I mean, they have the most informed player. We're saying Lewandowski's been super consistent all year. Easy Ballon d'Or candidate. Easy, he's solving the games for them, right? He scored today, I think.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Mueller came to life. I don't know how, but he has all the assists and like he's really smart player, breaking down defenses. I'm still not convinced that I've seen him face like a real threat. So I still don't. I give him a slight advantage, but I'm not like. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't make them my pick, but I say they have an advantage right now. I still would favor City or even like Barca or Juventus, but that's just me. I don't know. I don't know that coach is like the best. I think Bayern just always has a really good team. You know, they got 2-3 players for every position.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they really faced a team that like takes the ball away from them. I would want to see how they play with like, when they're playing another good team. Because to be honest, Dortmund really let me down that game. Like players are still trying to get their feet under them, but it was like Bayern kind of really never felt threatened.
Yeah. No.
For them, it's gonna be I think their mid and defense. Because Neuer hasn't been exceptionally great, I'll say that. So it's going to depend on how that defense holds up. But like Andres says, I don't know. I'm starting to come short of arguments of why they wouldn't be the favorites,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say they have trouble with like really young dynamic teams or teams that have a lot of experience, like a Madrid or something like that.
Well, young and dynamic, they killed Chelsea.
Yeah, but I feel like even some of the relegation type teams that were a little hungrier in the Bundesliga gave them a little bit of trouble. But I guess it was just because they were also starting up the season up again. But I mean, I'm trying to think who gave them an issue in the Bundesliga, and I can't really think of anyone that was like, wow, they had to come back a couple games, and they did. So I mean, they have that ability to go down and come back. So that's something that like really good teams always have. Regardless of who you are,
and they finished strong since they fired Kovac or whatever. They've been really good. I can't remember the last time they lost. Honestly, I know they have lost this season, and that's why a dude got fired. But what was it, like a 5 or 6 years ago when Real Madrid went on like a 22-game win streak or 21 match unbeaten streak, and then Barcelona finished that season by winning the treble. Right? Like it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And it looks like they are finishing stronger than most. So
it's not like there's a certain formula to win champs, but like usually they got enough depth that like they're not relying on one player per se, but they also have like usually to also win it, you got to have the player, and Lewandowski looks like the man right now,
Right.
And usually whoever's in the final is like CR7, whoever's like hitting stride, having a great year. That's why Bayern is probably the favorite, I would say, right now.
Yeah, they rested Davies on the weekend. I forgot too. Like you said, they just have 2 or 3 guys ready at every position. It's worth noting too that Thiago, who's usually really crucial to the way they play, has been out for like 4 matches, and Goretzka in that time has looked really good too.
And they have Coutinho for no reason.
Right. So, yeah. And then we're still talking about Kingsley Coman. We're still talking about Perisic. We're still talking about
Gnabry.
Serge Gnabry, who's had a great season too. We're still talking about Javi Martinez off the bench. Luka
Davies clocking in the top speed in the Bundesliga
Coleman
today.
They have Coleman.
Yeah, no, it's they've got.
It's ridiculous.
Again, it almost pains me to admit it, but since we've come closer and closer and seen the Bundesliga play out, it's becoming clearer and clearer that Andres was right. And like you said, Johnny, right, we're running out of arguments against it, right? So, again, I would agree with you. I think City and PSG, PSG I've talked about poorly for years because I just don't see them having enough to finish, but they have a nice little squad this year too. So I think it will be a challenge. One of those challengers, Juventus, returned on Friday in the Coppa Italia, and they finished 0-0 in a draw with Milan. Now, they advanced on the away goals rule since they scored the away goal in the first leg. And then that first leg, for those who've already forgotten, was Ronaldo scored a stoppage time penalty off a controversial handball after Milan was up 1-0. And then on Saturday, Napoli and Inter tied 1-1, but Napoli had won the first leg 1-0. So because of that, Napoli advanced. So that sets up the final for the Italian Cup tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Oh, damn.
If you have ESPN or ESPN Plus, it's on Big ESPN tomorrow. So definitely check that out. Juve versus Napoli. Now, Juve looked a little off. Granted, I mean, Milan isn't the great Milan of our childhood, right? Of 10, 15 years ago. But they're still, a club of stature, right? But they definitely didn't look like it in this match. And quite frankly, Juve looked pretty lost too. The midfield especially. CR7 was playing as the 9. He was playing as the center striker, center forward. And he didn't look too good. Missed a penalty, which is usually that's a guaranteed.
Hit the post though.
Yeah, hit the post to his credit. It was close, but he missed the PK. Match finished 0-0. Does Juve have anything to worry about, or is that just rustiness from?
They've been having everything to worry about, bro. All season they haven't clicked, but they're just better than any other team in Serie A, maybe, I mean, Lazio's been good, but they just, I mean, I don't know. They also have Cristiano, so I don't know. It's hard to be he's gonna lose or there's a lot of stuff going for them with especially if they keep going further, they just make more money. But I'm telling you, I don't know that a trident of Dybala, Higuain, and Cristiano is the answer. I think they got to play. I don't know. I really don't know. That's what makes me not really pick them in champs or whatever. Because I don't see a real style of play or anything that I'm we keep waiting for them to click, kind of like Barca, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, I think CR7,
at least for me,
CR7 is the least of their worries. He started the season off and then went on a tear, scored in 11 straight matches, right? So I don't think we have too much to worry about. But I think it's kind of concerning the fact that they're using him as a 9 because he's always been best coming off the left, right? Or the right.
But he's too slow now to come off just how he wants to play, in all the time. But he has a hard time playing with his back to goal or in the middle, which is surprising for a player of his caliber. But
and possibly even more concerning than that, right? Because I would agree, maybe there isn't currently the band. I don't think Higuain is even fit, so maybe put Dybala in as the false 9, right? But the midfield is I think Betancourt
got weaker, right? Got weaker than last year.
Betancourt looks good in this match, but he's been kind of hit or miss. And then Pjanic was completely nowhere in this match. Completely ran over him, and Matuidi didn't look like himself. If there's one thing that Matuidi you can always count on doing is putting in a lot of hard work and running a lot. And he looked off the pace. And then they made subs where they put Khedira in too, and he didn't make much of a difference. I think who else did they bring in?
So is that on Sarri or what? I'm saying it's been all year. They're still there, but I don't remember seeing a convincing string of games.
No, I agree with you 100%. And I thought, if anything, given maybe now that they had some time to, I guess, get used to, or acclimate, or take in the Sarri ball, it doesn't look like it has, right? Or maybe he hasn't had his best players available to him at the time, right? Injuries are always a thing. But players like Pjanic, who are usually really good, right? You'd expect to have been like a shade of their former selves. So, do you think Juve's got anything to worry about with Serie A starting for them next week, Andres?
I feel like there's a lot of individualism on Juve, and Sarri is just his system is not working with the type of players that they have. So I mean, they still have the team to finish first or second, depending on how everyone else comes back. But I don't know. I see a lot of pieces that don't fit. I see a mid that's really not going to work for them. And maybe it'll push them in champions, maybe a couple individual, stellar in performances like Ronaldo or something. But I mean, they're a wild card. I don't know. They'll look hot one day and then the next they'll look flat. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's gonna be enough to push them through, but we'll have to see how everyone else comes back, like Lazio or something like that.
Yeah, they have Chiellini coming back from injury. But yeah, I think they started this match with the front three of Douglas Costa, CR7, and Dybala. And Dybala is not a winger, I would say. And Costa is. Like, Costa was probably the one being played in his best position, but it just didn't happen. Now, another team that looks like they're no longer clicking, Inter Milan, your team, Andres. They look like they were really starting strong. Conte had made some changes. Lukaku and Martinez, both in double figures scoring, making it work when we very rarely see a two-striker set now, right? And then all of a sudden they just started blowing really cold, started drawing a lot of matches, dropping matches, and now they're out of the Coppa Italia. I guess it's not a huge deal that they're out of the cup, but what's happening, and does this effectively rule them out of the championship now? They're currently 9 points back. They have a match at hand, granted, but what do you think the trend is on this? What's going on with them?
Well, I think they fizzled out. They started hot. They looked like they had a squad to challenge, and I think the thing for them was that they lost a lot of momentum with the new signings. They signed like 5 people at once in the winter break. Mm-hmm. And I feel like just playing like Ashley Young and, maybe Eriksson, who wasn't seeing a lot of game time, I mean, that threw them off a little bit. Or I don't know. I mean, Conte, I think, has a lot of enthusiasm and players kind of work for that, but maybe for some reason they just didn't click or ideas weren't getting across. I don't know, but they definitely surprised me as to how they kind of just fell off.
I think the scores, they lost obviously, but I didn't see the whole game, but I saw the highlights, and it wasn't for a lack of trying. Let me tell you, Napoli got pretty lucky. It was the David Ospina show. He made at least, I want to say, like 4 or 5 like big stops, like for sure goals.
Yeah, didn't he make that pass up to the leading up to the goal saying. Too?
Yeah. Inter were right there, and it wasn't their night. To be honest, if you re-see the game or the highlights, you get I saw there was like 4 or 5 saves that Ospina did to really save them, because they had Alexis Sanchez come off. He blocked one of his. Lukaku, he blocked one of his. Victor Moses missed the last opportunity chance.
Eriksson looked good too.
Oh yeah, Eriksson scored it off of the corner.
He had an Olympico,
an early goal, but yeah. So then, but Eriksson, I don't know. I think there was a lot of expectations with Inter, but it's hard to make a team right away and then to just compete and win.
Yeah.
For sure. I think they're doing as best they can. Really. I don't really see it as a failure if they don't win anything really this year. As long as they can get in the Champions League, to be honest.
True. They haven't been in the Champions League consistently for a while. They were this year. They had a tough group this year. But no, yeah, Eriksson started for the first time, I think. Maybe not for the first time, but he played really, really well in behind the 2 strikers. And I think like you guys have said, they've made a whole lot of progress already.
They practically have the same goals for and against as Juventus. mind you, they have the same losses. There's only 3 draws that separate them, and you can probably account for Ronaldo having 3 good games being the key difference. So I think they're still right there, but they're kind of they don't have that player that makes a difference in those like stalemates or anything like that.
Well, it was supposed to be Eriksson and it was supposed to be Sanchez, And,
oh yeah,
and Lautaro or Lautaro. I think they're falling a little short on ideas, or I don't know, but they just they're missing a couple pieces, obviously, like on mid and on defense, but I don't think there was. I don't know. I don't feel like it's a failure for them, but I think they're pretty much as good as they're gonna be. I think they're gonna try for Europa to win that and qualify for champs.
Well, their next game is Sampdoria, and if they win that, they're only 6 points from first place.
With a game in hand.
Yeah, so it's not. Well, they have 54 right now.
Yeah, so the one this weekend would be the game in hand.
So they're not completely out of it. To say that they're out of it, they're not. But it's definitely an uphill battle.
Yeah, especially if Juve keeps struggling.
True. Another notable thing from this matchup, Dries Mertens scored and became Napoli's highest goal scorer ever. That's crazy. He's got more goals scored for Napoli than Marek Hamsik, than Maradona. Legend. It looks like he's probably going to sign an extension to stay at Napoli because his contract's up this summer. But he scored, and maybe Napoli rides this out to the European spots, to secure one of those European spots. The other thing I wanted to mention about Napoli is our boy El Chucky. Word is he got kicked out of training today or yesterday, recently. Gattuso had already apparently kicked midfielder Alan out of training for not trying hard enough or looking like he was not putting in enough effort. And apparently he threw Chucky out of practice today too. So things are not looking good for Chucky at Napoli ever since Gattuso took over. We're hearing all kinds of rumors of him going back with Ancelotti to Everton, other places being rumored, but it's not looking good for our friend from the Mexican national team in Naples at the moment. I don't know what it is with Gattuso. He did really well in the Dutch league, but obviously the Dutch league is way easier to play in than Serie A, right? So there's obviously going to be some learning, but I feel like he started kind of well, kind of encouraging, and then they fired Ancelotti.
Well, I don't think he was even on the squad team for the game versus Inter, or I think he might have been, but that's part of it. Like he doesn't even get playing time. And at first, I thought it was because I think a lot of players are up for contracts at the end of this year in Napoli, right? And when they got rid of Ancelotti, it was some player thing, but I thought they were getting rid of him because he wanted his new players, right?
Right.
So, and they were talking about like Mertens and Insigne, and them would all like not re-sign because they were gonna give a chance to all the new people that they just bought, like Chucky or whatever, and like they were just gonna buy new players in general. But then Gattuso came and he kind of, I don't know, disfavored Chucky really, and he's been consistent with just like the same how Napoli's always been, Insigne and Mertens and Jose Callejon.
Yep.
Politano or something like that. I can't remember. They got a decent squad. They're pretty good to play with on FIFA.
Fabian Ruiz.
They got Koulibaly.
Yeah, they do have a sound squad, so you expect them to finish strong. It's just unfortunate that Chucky's not a part of it right now, right?
He's gone. If Gattuso's there still, he's gone.
Yeah. Gattuso, I guess, is trying to play a more tactical, disciplined game, and I guess what I'm reading, or every indication is, not every indications, but there are indications that say that he just doesn't work hard defensively, and Gattuso doesn't like that, right? And that's usually some of the complaints that we hear from like the Mourinho types, right? Who are like, no, they need to work harder. Which I don't know, man. It kind of feels like they're trying to cast Chucky as like a luxury player. But I don't know. He's decisive in the attacking third, or has been.
He's supposed to be their game changer, where he maybe doesn't have as much defensive responsibility. But if you see the way Insigne plays, he does go down a lot, dude. And the game versus Barca and in general, Napoli, they struggled against Inter. It was like, I'm telling you, it was because of Ospina and because the team was kind of defending. So you probably got to feel for Chucky, because at least me, just observing Napoli, you got to say that their style of play isn't the most like exciting right now, you know? Because what are they really playing for? The Coppa Italia, then? That's all they're playing for, really. Or Barca? Are we gonna think, if we think they're gonna beat Barca playing this pragmatic defensive like counter style? I don't know. I think Gattuso does need a bit of a reality check. And I'm coming hard at him right now, maybe because he's not playing my boy, but like I think, it's something weird going on too. Napoli, I don't know what's gonna happen there.
Yeah, we'll see how as it closes out. And again, Serie A returns on Saturday and Sunday. The most thrilling matchups probably won't start until Tuesday or Wednesday. But bear with us and keep up, because both Serie A and La Liga are doing this. And I think the Premier League are going to do it as well. But they're doing this running schedule where teams are pretty much playing like every 3 to 4 days. That brings us to La Liga. La Liga finally started back up this last weekend. Most results went as you would expect. But the interesting thing to note is that the league returned on Thursday. Teams played Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then teams have already played as of today. So half of this second match day of the restart has already been played. So teams like Barcelona have already played twice. Teams like Sevilla and Betis have already played twice. Madrid and Atletico have only played once. They both play tomorrow. But in the restart, we had, Sevilla come out victorious 2-0 over Betis in the Sevilla derby. Barcelona smashed Mallorca 4-0. Lionel Messi doing GOAT things with 2 assists and a goal. Martin Braithwaite got his first goal for Barcelona there as well. And then Real Madrid smashed Eibar over the weekend too. Interesting thing is they were up 3-0 by halftime, I believe, and Zidane ripped his team after the match. He was not happy. They won, I would say, kind of comfortably. We can talk about their performance a little bit more in depth in a second, but he was not happy and says they need to play better. Regardless, they won, and they play tomorrow, I believe, or Thursday, actually. They play Thursday. My fault. Marcelo scored, and of course, threw up the Black Power fist. All the power to him. Props to him for bringing it up and celebrating in that way. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. Don't forget it. And then, of course, Atletico tied 1-1 against Athletic in what was a really interesting match. It was on at 7 on Sunday, but I got up and watched it. But I don't regret it because it was pretty back and forth. Diego Costa got on the score sheet again after Atletico had gone down. Herrera got some playing time and played pretty well. But again, they come out even with another team who's right there in the pack for the Europa spots. So as things stand, Barcelona has played 29 matches and is in first place. They have 64 points. Madrid has only played 28 matches, and they are on 59 points. So right now they're 5 points back, but they have a game at hand. Sevilla, having played 29, is 51 points. So there's some distance between second and third there. Sevilla's pretty much got third place. I wouldn't say it's up for wraps, but they're currently, 4 points up on Sociedad, but really it could be 1 point because Sociedad plays tomorrow as well. So there's a couple of other, little caveats there. But for the most part, it looks like Barcelona and Madrid keep up the same pace and have that separation for third place. So is there anything that you guys, again, it's too soon to tell. They just came back. So everybody's getting their feet set and then getting used to everything again. But I guess from any of the three big teams or anything else that you guys would want to point out, what did you guys notice or what stood out from the performance of the big three teams?
I can go first if you want. Or you?
Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, I'll point. So I think I'll start with Atletico. I think they're going to focus on the champs and just try to get Champions League spots, most likely. So a tie doesn't really. They did lose points, but they'll have games to try to pick back up, especially when Sevilla and Sociedad are more. I don't know. Can't really name all their players. They're talented, but I would say Atletico still has more. Barca won. Messi, they played a good game. It seemed like Griezmann played in the 9 spot, right? Or something like that. Griezmann played in the 9 spot with Braithwaite and Messi.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm still not convinced with Barca. I think they scored. They have an easier time. They can score, but it's I don't know. I'm not saying it's a fluke that they score, but it's just like I think when they come up against a solid team is when they struggle. But I couldn't really point out anything about Barca. I think it was good to see Messi play, and he's being effective as always. So I do want to say that they got a harder schedule left. And then the only thing I point out for Madrid is that they're going to keep going as much. Like, their forwards are not scoring. That's the thing I keep saying.
Yeah.
Ramos had to score on a really nice play. Came all the way up from the middle. And then Hazard kind of rewarded him for his play. I think Hazard's still not in shape. And yeah, their forwards are not scoring. Cruz scored a nice goal off the volley or real quick, and then I don't know. I think their attacking front is lacking. None of those forwards are really like. It's gonna be if Hazard has anything to do, but I think Madrid is just gonna focus on. I mean, they're gonna try to win in champs, but their league is their. If I was Zidane, I would focus on the league.
I think Zidane was so mad because that game that they played against Eibar was totally two different teams that he fielded at halftime. So the first team was kind of his experienced team, and I mean Hazard started and he played, like someone who just came back after a long-term injury. He offered something different, definitely. Like, it was all the focus wasn't on Benzema. It was kind of on both players on both wings, which led Hazard to have that easy assist for Ramos. But I still think that once Asensio comes back, that's when you can really judge Madrid's attack. And I mean, I think that's going to be kind of like the key for them moving forward offensively. But yeah, I mean, if their subs aren't coming in and being effective, then they're going to have problems all season long. It's really going to be, experience that pushes them the last 10 games. They look like they can push for the rest of the season, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, they got to count on goals from everywhere because their forwards aren't scoring all the goals.
Yeah, no.
At least for me.
2 defenders scored, right? Marcelo and Ramos, right? And Ramos now is just shy of 100 goals, which is crazy for a defender. I don't know about you guys. I feel like in the last 6 years or so, I've definitely noticed his goals because they've been pretty clutch. But for him to have 92, I feel like that went extremely under the radar. Was I not paying attention?
Yeah, that's the record, I think, for La Liga for a defender.
I was not paying attention. That's insane. 92 goals?
I think he has the stat, Ramos does, that he scored at least 5 goals in every season, and only him and Messi have that or something for like 15 seasons.
That's insane. Well, props to him. 92 goals, and a lot of them really, really important goals for Madrid. Champions League winning goals or, game-tying matches to take it into extra time. game tying matches at crucial points. So, damn, that's history right there.
A lot of positives though for Madrid moving forward.
Yeah, a lot of positives. Hazard had an assist, right? He's starting to look like he can come good. But again, like Johnny said, same concerns, right? Benzema, not scoring.
Benzema plays well though. Benzema's a playmaking, kind of center forward. He's big. He can score, poach, make. He's kind of like a kind of on par with like a Raúl Jimenez type player. Big, kind of starts counters. He just didn't have anyone to play with up top. Like Vinicius, he wasn't reliable.
He's like second leading scorer in La Liga still. Benzema's on 14 goals, which is crazy, right? Because Johnny pointed out it feels like he hasn't scored in months, right? And he's second. Luis Suarez is up there too in like the top 5 with 11, and he hasn't played in 4 months too, right? Which is pretty significant. Quite a stat from Spain there. But one other thing I did want to point out with Atletico and Athletic, both of those teams really came out and were taking it to each other. Atletico, I was impressed. They created a lot, but the finishing was subpar. Carrasco started and probably had the best chance of the match, and he shot it wide. And then we had I can't even remember which player it was. Arias. Arias played at right back. The Colombian right back had a shot that he kicked right at the goalie that was pretty much like almost on the line. All you had to do was like pretty much poke it past him. But Atletico again is in 6th place currently, and a lot to play for in Spain for those 4th through I guess 6th or 7th for the Europa spots. Because again, a reminder, Sociedad is in 4th place, but they're only 4 points behind 3rd place. Then you have Atletico, and then Valencia is 3 points behind them. So like Athletic, there's a lot going on in like the European spots there in Spain. So a lot to look forward to and a lot to pay attention to, just like in the Premier League. That's probably the most important thing to pay attention to in the Premier League, because that returns tomorrow. Exciting. Yeah. We have 2 matches tomorrow on a Wednesday. Those are usually on the NBC networks. I believe it's either on NBCSN or I think it's NBCSN. Tomorrow, Sheffield United plays Aston Villa in the appetizer match at noon. And then at 2, we have Arsenal versus Man City, which should be a really good match to kick things off for the Premier League. Again, right now, Liverpool is way ahead of the pack. Man City, of course, has got a game at hand, but they have a cushion over 3rd place Leicester, right? And then Leicester's got a little bit of a cushion over 4th place Chelsea. But after Chelsea is where things start to get really interesting. So how soon does Liverpool wrap it up? I'll start with that, right? Sure. Because I think they're only 2 victories away from officially mathematically wrapping that up, right? And who do you guys think get 4th and 5th? And the reason why I say 4th and 5th is because Man City has been banned for 2 years from the Champions League. They appealed it last week. We should know in July what if the appeal was or what the result of that is. But 4th or 5th may be that last Champions League spot, right? Because Man City is definitely finishing in the top 4. So let's start with the first question. How soon does Liverpool wrap it up? And what do you think, Johnny? We'll start there before I get ahead of myself.
I think 2 games. Yeah, I think
right away.
2 games. Yeah,
they just punch it in real quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Liverpool plays Man City on July 2nd. It'll be over before then?
I think so.
Cool.
Now, I think City probably drops points tomorrow or loses. Hell yeah.
Oof. Yeah. Arsenal gunning for them because Arsenal's trying to get into those Europa spots too, man. Arteta recovered from COVID, and he's trying to get that team into Europa at the very least. If Arsenal doesn't get some of that European money, they're going to be in some problems. As it is, they have too many big contracts on the books, so they got to figure out, and they've got a lot more to play for, right? Man City, I think, has got most of their eggs in the Champions League basket, as they should, because they're facing a ban, and they're definitely going to finish in the top 4, so they can count on that money. Arsenal's got a lot to play for, so I'll save that for my picks. But I think Liverpool again could wrap it up relatively quickly, right? If I, spoiler alert, expect City to drop points as well tomorrow, and if Liverpool beats Everton in the Liverpool Derby on Sunday, it's pretty much done and dusted. It's done and dusted, but that's official, you know. So then, who gets 4th and 5th? Who gets that last Champions League spot? Does Chelsea ride out the 4th?
Yeah, can you go over how many points is Chelsea ahead of 5th? Which is Man U right now, I think.
They're only
3 points.
Or 3, sorry.
3?
3 points, 1 game. Or 3 points and the same amount of games.
And what about Wolves?
2 points ahead of Wolves.
Okay.
Also 2 points ahead of Sheffield United, who will play tomorrow. So they'll be in 6th place if Sheffield United wins.
I kind of want to say Man U and Wolves finish 4th and 5th
over Chelsea.
I haven't seen Chelsea do much, but I would say Man U is on the up, and Wolves has probably, even though they have less points, I think they've been playing better than Chelsea or Man U all season. So I would really like to see them rewarded for playing well all season, and I'm going to go with them. So I'll go Man U and Wolves, and I think Chelsea will start dropping points.
Yeah, right now Chelsea is in 4th on 48, and you look at Arsenal. Arsenal's in 9th on 40. So 4th through 9 have 8 points of separation. But again, 6th place is Wolves on 43, and that means they're only 3 points up on Arsenal. So Spurs is in 8th. They can still sneak in there. Arsenal's in 9th. Sheffield United, although they have a match at hand, which gets played tomorrow, they've overperformed. Obviously, it's their first season back in the Premier League, so what they've done is extremely commendable. But I don't really expect them to hang up there, right? You got to believe that a Spurs or Arsenal overtakes Sheffield United, right? I got to believe that. And then Wolves, like Johnny said, has been really fun to watch. Another team that has come up from the lower division, from the Championship, and really made a statement. And they're doing so with players like Neves, like Jimenez, like Traore, right? But I think right now with Wolves, what we might see is that they might get stretched. We have teams playing with 5 subs, right? Maybe it's not necessarily accurate to say that the big teams with the deeper squads will benefit more, right? But Wolves is one of those teams that I feel doesn't rotate their starting 11 a whole lot, right? So they're going to run into tiredness or maybe injuries. They don't have as many, I guess, variables, right? Or X factors, right? They don't have those wild cards that some of these other teams have. But I can totally see Wolves like muscling Spurs or Arsenal out of there. But to me, I think Chelsea stays in 4th and United gets that 5th spot. I think United gets the 5th one. I think that the 3 points that Chelsea has up on them right now is not safe, but it's also important, right? Because I think out of all of these teams, even though I'm wearing this Arsenal jersey right now, I think United's probably got the best prospects and possibly the best team on paper, other than maybe Chelsea, right? To compete. I've been told that Pogba isn't going to start on Friday, or I was reading, not told. Nobody told me anything. But I was reading he's not going to start. So I was kind of excited to see Fernandes and Pogba playing in the same midfield. We're going to see it at some point, I feel like. But you got to believe that, or maybe you don't have to, but I kind of believe that Pogba, Fernandez, Fred or McTominay in there with, the speed of Daniel James and then Rashford up front. I don't know. I think this is where Solskjaer's got to make his money, right? This is going to be crucial for him, but I think he's got the team to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's really going to come down to whether United can click that fast and whether Solskjaer is the man to do that with all the pieces that he has now. I mean, everyone's waiting for Pogba to play in that midfield, so we'll see how he does with Fernandez. And yeah, like you said, once you get to the second tier of players, the extra 5 subs on Chelsea, even you got Billy Gilmore, versus other teams that might not have strong players in their subs. So I think Chelsea and Man U will probably fight for it. I don't know who. It depends. Like I said, if United can click, but I don't see Wolves taking over United or Chelsea, even though they were playing strong. I just don't see it.
I don't think Chelsea or Man U is as strong as you guys are saying at all. I still don't see Man U as anything more than a counter-attacking team. And I still don't see any Chelsea more than a dynamic young team. Whereas Wolves, at least I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get some tactical versatility, some good play from Moutinho and the other Portuguese in the middle.
Neves.
What's his name? Neves.
Yeah.
Jimenez has been a standout forward all season. And I don't know that you could tell me there's better players on Chelsea or Man U than even Traore or Jimenez off of Wolves right now.
Yeah, no, my question with Chelsea would be in defense. I would agree with you, but Chelsea's attack is pretty loaded. But Rudiger is probably their best center back, right? And then they have Christensen, they have Zuma, neither of which is, I think, convincing, right? They have that other youngster, Tomori, right? Fikayo Tomori. They have Azpilicueta, who's not a bad player, right? He's their captain, if I'm not mistaken, rotating between center back and left back, right? And he's not really a center back. I think, there's questions for Chelsea in defense. United, I would agree, Johnny, that they're very counter heavy, right? With players like Martial and James ready to strike. But I think that getting Silva in January kind of helped address that a little bit. I mean, he doesn't come in and change everything, but Silva is a creative, driving force going forward, and so is Pogba. That's why I think if I'm a United fan, I'd be excited and hopeful to maybe see that.
You mean Fernandez? You said Silva.
Did I say Silva? My fault. Getting my Portuguese names messed up. Yeah, I meant Fernandez. You're right.
Yeah, you're good.
But yeah, no, I think it stays. I think Chelsea finishes 4th, United hangs on to 5th, and then everything behind that, I think Wolves stays in 6th, and then after that, I don't know if Spurs and Arsenal have what it takes right there. That's where they might miss out on Europe.
Well, you got to think too that. You're right, actually, because Chelsea might have an advantage since I don't want to say they're knocked out of champs, but they technically are. And Wolves is still fighting in Europa, and so is Man U. And Tottenham is even still in the Champions League, even though they're going to be out. But Chelsea does have a slight advantage, you're right, because they're going to have those 3 points are like gold right now to them.
Yeah,
as long as they can keep,
a lot of movement that can still happen there.
You're right though that you bring up the biggest point that we're gonna have to see what old Gunner come good. He's got nothing to. Everyone should be back, right? Rashford, Marshall, McTominay, James.
So then, let me ask you this: if he doesn't finish 5th or 4th or doesn't get into the Champions League, does United have to go fire him? Do they have to go and get Pochettino then, or somebody, Allegri, somebody else?
Yeah, he goes.
Yeah,
No big
And I'm telling you,
superstar.
Pogba is not going to play all season. He's not going to play.
He's done playing for United?
He ain't going to go play with Fernandes in the midfield in a real game. I heard they played in a friendly, but I have seen no footage of it.
If United do not get a Champions League spot, no Jadon Sancho, no Haaland, no big star is going to go to United. You know, so those players want Champions League, and if Gunnar isn't the man, he's gone.
Should he stay even if? I'm hearing people should say that they should make a run for Pochettino anyway, whether they get that Champions League spot or not.
Pochettino took a okay above average Tottenham to the Champions League final, so I mean, why not?
I would be in that camp, yeah. But again, he's got 10 games to prove for his job, you know, to prove he's the man. And if he does, then keep him. Yeah, give him the season.
Yeah,
next season.
You're right. He's got 9 matches to earn that keep. Now, I guess we'll finish with the Premier League roundup with this question because both teams are kind of rebuilding or kind of in shambles, and it's their rivals, right? The North London rivals. Who finishes higher, Spurs or Arsenal?
I want to say it's tough. I want to say Arsenal build on Arteta's, you know, experience or whatever he brings to the club in terms of like man management. But Tottenham also get Harry Kane back, so that's a big. Yeah, that's their offense right there. So I'm gonna say Tottenham. Sorry, Arsenal fans.
Over Arsenal, okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Johnny? Who finishes?
I don't really care about either of those teams right now, but I would say, I don't know. That's a good question, I guess. I would want to say Arsenal too, but I would say Arsenal. I think Tottenham this whole year has been a shamble of a year, and Harry Kane hasn't played, so he's not even in form, and he came out of shape.
Yeah.
Arsenal game changer.
I don't know, bro. Not this year.
It's better than Lucas Moura leading the line.
Yeah, but he's not. Arsenal has Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ozil. They got more on offense, to me at least. Tottenham they're gonna play. They're gonna keep playing the same style that they've been playing, bro. They're gonna just be like defensively postured and just trying to counter, to be honest. Where at least Arteta has been bringing a lot more flair and a lot more pride to that team, more than I've seen in Tottenham. Tottenham has been a super spineless team this whole year.
Oof.
And they're in shambles, and they're about to lose all their players.
No trust in Mourinho to guide them to a strong finish. No,
no. He quickly said no.
Oh wow.
Said spineless. Those are strong words. Strong words. But yes, definitely keep track of what's going on because there's a lot of games coming and they're coming quick. Before I get into what to watch for and our picks for this week, I just want to give a quick shout out to Marcus Rashford since we're talking about the Premier League and since we're talking about United. Rashford this week essentially called out the British government and petitioned them to expand, school lunch programs for kids. He talked about how for him growing up, it was tough for his mom, putting food on the table sometimes. And he was one of those kids that really depended on meals at school. So he petitioned the government to put more money into food at schools for kids during all of this uncertainty. And they announced today, the government there, that they're going to do that for kids. I mean, probably not solely all because Marcus Rashford, but shout out to him for using his platform and being a young leader and really trying to do some good, man. That's good. He's really trying to address child hunger, which he says is more important than football, which I would agree. And that's the kind of stuff that we really need in the world right now, right? That's what we need from people in those positions. So shout out to that young man, because he's what, like 21? He's a kid basically,
he's straight
right?
baller though.
Yeah. Also with that, this is, I guess, notable. All Premier League teams this weekend are going to have their players wear Black Lives Matter over their numbers instead of their last names or their names.
Cool.
So if you turn on the matches this weekend, don't be shocked or don't be put off when you see Black Lives Matter on everybody's back. Which, again, really cool initiative and really awesome that the Premier League is drawing attention to the movement in that way. I would just hope that there's more action to it too, right? Hopefully they start putting some money behind the action, and maybe helping to address racism in football, because it's a big freaking problem in football as well. Taylor Twellman, the former American national, was on ESPN talking about how soccer is probably the most racist sport. And I wish I could say that he's wrong, right? But even recently, we've seen too many examples of black players getting monkey chants and, horror stories of supporters doing terrible things in Russia and in Italy and places like that. So awesome that the Premier League is drawing attention, and that other players and leagues are drawing attention. Now let's just hope they back it up and do something with all that money and all of that attention. Now, the rest of this week is heavy on football. So for those of you guys who have been ready for sports, ready for some competition, I started with the Bundesliga because it's pretty much done. Bayern is a champion. So the rest of it is pretty much just jockeying for position for, second, third, fourth, and the relegation. So if you're still interested to see how the rest of the big teams in the Bundesliga finish, tomorrow Frankfurt plays Schalke at 11:30. I believe that should be on FS2 here in the States. So if you have FS2, you can watch Eintracht Frankfurt against Schalke, two of the bigger teams in Germany. Then at 1:30, you can watch Dortmund versus Mainz. Mainz is, I think, last place in the Bundesliga, trying to fight for their survival. And Dortmund, of course, trying to solidify second place. Not always, because this weekend they didn't get the victory until the last minute of stoppage time when Haaland scores. But Dortmund is definitely one of those teams that's always more interesting to watch. And then, of course, on Saturday, 8:30 in the morning, also that one should be on FS1, not on FS2. We have probably the last remaining big game in the Bundesliga. Leipzig plays Dortmund. So Timo Werner versus Haaland and Jadon Sancho, two very talented teams there Saturday morning. Again, probably one of the last important games. Those teams are in second and third right now. So it could have some bearing in what the final table looks like. And those are the three big matches to highlight for the Bundesliga for the remainder of the week. So if you're into German soccer and have the Fox networks, Fox Soccer, FS1, FS2, and Fox Soccer, you can catch those matches on there. Then if you have beIN Sports, La Liga, you can watch Atletico versus Osasuna tomorrow at 3 p.m. Then on Thursday, you can watch Real Madrid versus Valencia at 3 p.m., also on beIN. And then on Friday, one of the matches that we'll be picking too, Sevilla plays Barcelona at 3 p.m. on Friday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 3, Spanish soccer is on beIN Sports. So if you've got access to beIN, or you can get a free trial from Futbol TV, you can watch La Liga for 3 consecutive days. Then the big one, the Premier League tomorrow, Aston Villa versus Sheffield United is on at noon. And that should be on the NBC networks, NBCSN. Then at 2, we have City versus Arsenal. That should also be on NBCSN. Then Friday, this is a big match too. Spurs versus United on NBCSN at 2:15 on Friday. Ooh. So 2 big matches on Friday. We've got Sevilla, Barcelona, and Spurs United. And then the last big one of this weekend for the Premier League is Everton-Liverpool. That's the Liverpool Derby on Sunday. That's bright and early in the morning, I believe.
Merseyside Derby.
Yeah, and the Merseyside Derby. There you go. That's for better put. And then tomorrow also the Coppa Italia final. Napoli versus Juventus at 2 p.m. That's going to be on ESPN and ESPN Plus. So if you have big ESPN, you can catch that there. You can watch Ronaldo possibly win another title there with Juventus, or watch Napoli clinch a title with Gattuso kicking Chucky out of training. Then Serie A returns on the weekend as well. It returns on Saturday, and then Saturday you can watch Torino versus Parma, I guess, if you want to watch a relegation battle. That's at 12:30 on ESPN Plus, and then on Sunday, Inter plays Sampdoria at the same time on ESPN Plus. Now again, with Spain, Italy, and England, you're going to have to be on it because they're playing matches pretty much every 3 to 4 matches. So by the next time that we film an episode, those leagues will have played a match or two at least. Definitely one, possibly two. So things are picking up, and they're picking up quick. So that brings us to the last segment, the last part of our weekly show here, our picks for the week. I forgot to mention at the start, but Andres won last week.
Yeah.
3 out of 6. He was 50% on his picks last week.
I've been 50%, but hey, that's a lot better than I guess you guys.
That's 2 weeks in a row for you. Me and Johnny each had 2. So hopefully we can get back on track. I've selected 6 matches, all very entertaining. How about we start with the Coppa Italia? We have that one is tomorrow at 2 p.m. On ESPN Plus. Napoli versus Juve. Who you got, Andres?
I wanted to say Napoli, but Ospina is out because he picked up a 5th yellow, and I think he kind of pushed them past Inter. So I'm going to take boring old Juve for this one. CR7 celebrates yet another trophy, I guess. Maybe he'll get a CR7 hat trick finally. I don't know. But I got Juve.
What about you, Johnny? You muted. My bad.
My bad. I'm torn because I want to say Juve, but I don't know that Napoli's really that convincing. So I'm going to take the safe pick and go with Juve.
Juve? Yeah, I'm going to go clean sweep Juve too. Again, they still haven't clicked. They weren't super convincing against Milan, but you got to think with CR7 on the field. He missed the penalty last week, but he won't miss again. He never misses twice, right? Then we have in the Premier League returns City versus Arsenal. Who you guys got?
Come on, bro. You know this. I got City. Arteta is the young Padawan, but he's not a master yet. You know, he can't do it yet. He has weapons, but City's gonna come out, you know, guns blazing. They got a full squad. De Bruyne's ready to play. They're just gonna show, you know, the whole league that, you know, big team is still there. So I got City.
Who you got, Johnny?
Take a hot ass tie.
Me too. I'm going with the draw. Again, I'm rocking the Arsenal, and I want them to win, but I'm also realistic. A draw. I'll take a draw for Arsenal.
Where is it at?
I'm not sure, but
what makes you pick a draw though? Like what
Both teams aren't necessarily back in form. City has not really gotten up to play the big games this year. They've lost a lot of points.
City could be rusty, and Arsenal at their best could only manage a tie right now, is what I think. That's how I feel.
City has a lot more weapons, though, than Arsenal. And they don't have David Luiz on their back line.
I was about to say, yeah. Or Mustafi. But yeah, moving on to the next one. On Thursday, Real Madrid plays Valencia in La Liga. Who you guys got?
I'll take Real.
Yeah, I think Hazard keeps improving. Him and Benzema click. Maybe we'll see Asensio make a sub appearance. I don't know. If Rodrigo doesn't start, I got Madrid.
I got Madrid as well because Zidane is pissed. And I got to believe that it takes a lot to get Zidane pissed, and he's going to do something about it. He really wants to win a league. So I'm going to go Madrid with you as well. And then, sorry, Johnny, I forgot to finish answering this, but right now I don't feel like home field advantage matters. With no fans in the stadium, with no fans, I feel like I was reading something crazy that in the Bundesliga, like home teams had no advantage anymore. Home teams weren't even winning since the restart as much as they were statistically before. So it's crazy, right? What the atmosphere does. So I mean, I might be wrong, and I'm not saying it's right, but I feel like their home field isn't a big deal right now.
Well, also to add to that, Madrid has been playing in their training stadium, so it's a lot smaller. It's more comfortable. They probably know the field because they play there every day, versus the Bernabeu, which is going renovation. So it might feel like it's not a home advantage, but when you play on a field every day for training, it has to feel a little bit more like home. True.
It is a little bit more quaint, right? Construction at the Santiago Bernabeu has already started for the summer. Brings us to the Premier League on Friday. Spurs versus United. Mourinho against his former team.
I'll take United.
I'm taking the draw here.
The draw. I'm taking United as well. I think they got more. Kane is obviously having him in the side is a plus, but he's been out for a long time. And I don't know, Mourinho just needs more time, I think. So I agree with Johnny. United. All right, now Friday we have Sevilla versus Barcelona. Who do you guys got?
I got a draw as well. I was
going to say a draw too.
I don't think Messi saves the day every single day. So
I agree with both of you guys. I go clean sweep, draw as well. Sevilla is in third place for a reason. They've looked pretty dangerous going forward in these two matches so far that they played. And Barcelona is still looking shaky. Is still looking vulnerable. Today, Leganés should probably have scored 2 goals before Barcelona scored the first one. I'll
take Sevilla then because I want to win on pigs.
All right. Yeah, Barcelona still looks extremely susceptible to the counter to me, and that's scary. They should have been down 2-0 today. And then finally, we have Everton versus Liverpool on Sunday. Who you guys got?
We got an answer here.
All right, yeah. Liverpool. I'm going Liverpool as well.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate and go for the tie. I think this is a derby. I think Everton, Ancelotti come out with something different. Liverpool continue their downward spiral.
Oof, Andres picking three draws this week. All right. Well, that wraps it up for this week. Thanks again for everybody who tuned in. Thanks for checking in, and please leave us a like, subscribe to the network. Let us know what you think. Thanks for bearing with us today. There was a lot to cover. But again, exciting times because we're coming from 3 months of no soccer to soccer pretty much every single day. So I am excited. Hopefully you guys can watch a match or 2 or maybe even 3 this weekend. There are lots of options and a lot to watch. So thanks again for you guys and giving us a chance. And thanks to Andres, Johnny, and Rafa for making this possible. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Thanks again. Peace out.
Yeah. Football's back.
Yep.
I just want